Hi guys, and welcome to 2018 CAT Taroscope and my review for 2018. This is a general review. I want to see all signs and I want to see what the general energy will be. So it's worth to mention that we are also entering a year number 11. 11s are very spiritual. Aquarius rules number 11. This is not to say that everybody reaches 11's potential. You see, in numerology we have 1 to 9, and then we have special numbers 11 and 22. These numbers are given mastery. They're given special abilities in achieving certain things. These abilities are not given because we were born in that. We have to really work hard throughout our lives to really deserve them. For example, most 11s are going to spend most of their life up to their, I would say, 40s or maybe even 50s, really baking their trade and being exposed to all kind of circumstances. In tarot, justice, strength, because these two cards are kind of changeable in different decks, are 11. However, I also associate the High Priestess with 11. She is represented with the Roman 2, which to me does look like 11. 11 is a number of illumination. So 1 is a leader. 1 is a leader of the leaders, but also 1 plus 1 is 2. So check it out. In 11 we have unity of leadership and softness. Hence 11s are trained to be healers all their lives. As you can imagine, I'm a number 11, and I'm telling you this from experience on my own skin. It took me really up to recently to really realize how things should be positioned, and yet I don't have all the answers. I am still continuing to work on them. So now as I was laying down these cards, as you have seen, and I did put them on a fast, we do have 11 that reappeared, or appeared rather to say, and we do have the Master, which is 22. We also have a 2 over here, and we also have 1 over here, and we also have 0, which is kind of like a baseline. So it is really confirming that numerological number 2, year number 2, which is also going to be really good year for everybody who is a number 2, because you see, we 11s will live most of our lives as number 2. Number 2 means that we have to learn how to cooperate with others, but not to suck up to them and not to give in to them. Learn how to have our own spine while still actually accomplishing our things. This is really hard, and I really believe that that was like the guiding principle behind the Greek what do you call it, councils, right? Because first of all, you had to be 45 to enter it, and then that was assumed that you have learned lessons on your own skin, and hence you'll be able to better kind of handle them. So the very first card that came out from Earth Magic Oracle cards is Autumnal Equinox. Autumnal Equinox. We say fall here in North America, and release. So let's call it Fall Equinox. So what do we really see here? It's kind of interesting because I kind of like aligned this and wanted to interpret this sort of like as per quarters as well as globally. But it was kind of really interesting. This was the very first card that appeared. And in many areas of the world, trees prepare for the winter and conserve their energy by contracting their life force, right? Which is they release their leaves, which have required the rays of the sun and nourishment from the earth in order to maintain robust growth and appearance. It is kind of like not a decision that trees will make, at least not in the usual sense, right? Instead, it's a natural response to the decreasing cycle of light that sets up the gradual and steady release of the tree's leaves. How remarkable it is that these trees, and actually for that matter, all of the Earth Mother's children, simply know what to do with the changes in climate. Don't you wonder how sometimes it would be so nice to be programmed and know how to do and when? Although this seasonal shift appears to be a death of sorts, it's only preparation for the next cycle of life, one that will naturally follow the more extreme contraction of winter, as kind of an aspect of the life, death, rebirth cycle, right, that we find is represented in so many different ways. So, being the first card, and after shuffling, I kind of stopped this and I was thinking, okay, how do I put this together? So I think this is what it means. To start out the year, it's the time to let anything in our life fall away that is no longer useful or needed for the emerging expression of who you are. You see, let's go back to that number 11. I just told you, I had to live most of my life, and most of the time, I will live as a number 2. In order to live as number 11, you really have to figure out what is important. And 99% of the things will not be important. So this is also telling us, right, that we have to shed what has become burdensome and what no longer is congruent with our soul's purpose. We need to conserve our energy by allowing ourselves more rest, while at the same time making preparations for the following seasons. In this case will be winter season. So interestingly enough, the very first quarter here is a winter, and it's asking us to kind of let go, especially look in material possessions. What is the guys that you really don't really need? Because number 11 is very altruistic. They are not motivated by money. Be really brutally honest with yourself, because you have to figure out what you can give away and what has to be released, right? This card also tells me that we should consider shedding relationships that possibly serve their purpose and they're no longer viable, as well as work or a job that maybe has become devoid of interest and passion. With release comes a sense of being much lighter. I guess just like these trees, and they're kind of like openly naked as their leaves kind of departed from them. Life is ready to birth following a period of being quiet and going through gestation. So let go of whatever has outlived its purposefulness, I would say, and trust that something else will take its place. So I always advise, clean your closets, clean your house, make a room for something else, because it's just not possible to add more things in a glass that is full. We all keep saying, oh, I want this, oh, I want that, but then where is the room to place this? You have to understand that physically and spiritually we kind of like react in a similar way. We have to have a space to kind of place this in. And my Cat Tarot people, you, yes you are here because you do want to become a better person. And you are a better person just by listening to this, just by doing the small changes. It takes so little to change this world. And together we can do it. It takes literally one person to actually start the motion. And I think we are moving in this direction, because the second card was crystals and focus. One of my favorite cards, because my personal favorite color is purple. And this is an amethyst crystal cave that's sort of like bathing in the river or water. And also what I really like here are these kind of points of light, right? And this is kind of indicating that it has a spiritual and healing force. And the crystals do have this special, let's call it, magic, right? they have been used many years for decoration, but like in particular purple has been used by royalty and by clergy because it also had a higher purpose, which was to connect us with our purpose and who we are supposed to be and open up our psychic capabilities. So since the violet color is the same as the crown chakra, it has often been referred to as a spiritual stone. So the nature of quartz crystals, the second most common element in the Earth's crust, is they help focus the power of our life, force, or spirit. And where attention goes, power flows, and crystals magnify this power tenfold. Our intention influences where our attention goes. When we are consciously aware of our attention, it facilitates the focus of the spiritual power and also supports the manifestation in reality. So, if you only heard blah, 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 I get it. First of all, you're going to be provided a link, and it's a quick link to Amazon where you can get yourself an amethyst crystal. I highly advise you do that because it's simply a stone that makes you think, makes you wonder. Just by sitting in front of you, it's going to give you a direction. It's the stone that rules us instead of us ruling the stone. So this is telling me at this time to bring our complete focus to the subject that we really want. So of course we cannot put something new in the house unless we clean it. So we are starting with that motion, and then we are really thinking what we want. Whether this is a project, relationship, or simply a relaxing time that we want to spend walking in the nature, we have to kind of like realize that we need to be present for it. And we need to kind of like really release our wishes to the universe. So the crown chakra is the top chakra that kind of opens up. That's why people say love and light, because through crown chakra, through the spine, that light enters and helps us to kind of go in this direction that we want. And it has to be free. So you can get the circulation of light by actually, and connect to your karma, by actually having the small steps, as I'm telling you, by focusing and clearing it. This is actually going to help us have this crystal clarity, as they say, right? And be in the flow of life force and have actually become one with it. So then our wish is not going to be some wish, something that is somewhere else written, you know, or what they say, Dr. Phil, just write like, what you want and just like wait for it to happen. It doesn't work this way. You have to be realistic with yourself. You have to see what you cleared. You have to see what possible issues you had. Did you handle too many things at once? Do you need to kind of like focus on fewer things than usual? So guys, keep your eyes, ears, and heart focused on that what you need to pay attention to, and miracles can be created. I do wish you to focus on 2 or 3 things, and I do not advise to focus on, let's say, a person. I would focus on a concept. If this is love and spiritual union, I would say, I need to create that. This is my focus. Once when you go into, he has to be 6 feet tall, she has to be blonde, thin model, you're wasting the gifts that the universe can shower you. Because everybody gets what is perfect for us at the time for our learning lesson. Because we have these soulmates coming, but we also have a spiritual contract, or as they call it, the karma contract. You guys have all received a special offer for karmic contract to figure out what you can actually fix and what you can actually pay attention to, because it does help. For me, I wish I had that done for myself, because I kept repeating one mistake after another. I kept meeting the same person in a different body and repeating my mistakes until it finally, I had that tower moment and exploded in my face. And by the way, we do not have the tower the entire year. Isn't this awesome? So look at that. It kind of like makes sense that the next phase would be this rainbow. And isn't this something that we always, and I don't know which one of you doesn't stop in awe by seeing something so beautiful? So what is rainbow? It is created by the collaboration of sunlight and water in the atmosphere. You can do it yourself simply, right? By washing the car. So what happens? The water droplets become tiny prisms that collectively diffuse and disperse light onto a ribbon of colors, right? And then we see every hue that we are capable of seeing on this planet. So rainbows symbolize many things, right? Including good luck, bridge to heavens, and abundance. It is really difficult for any of us to ignore the majesty of rainbow, right? And this gentle power. It is like almost like gods are smiling at us. So when you see the rainbow, the storm has passed, and it is time to enjoy the refreshing beauty of this cycle. Maybe even if times have been difficult, even if clearance of things basically wanted us to kind of deal with, things that maybe we didn't want to deal. If we did that, we are going to be rewarded, right? Don't just look at, quote unquote, the brighter side, because this is called also blessings. Don't try to adhere to some, academic mantra that has no heart and has no depth. I hear people repeating their positive affirmations. Let me tell you, it doesn't work. So instead, show your genuine gratitude in words and in deeds to the other people. This ever-evolving process of life itself is a blessing, and it is an opportunity to exist as a human being on Earth. Our planet is truly a beautiful garden. Let's keep it. We are so close to destruction, guys. Do you know that not a single psychic, not a single, as they call them, eye-seers, see this planet past year 2100? Most of us are parents. We would like our children to have their children and so on and so forth. But it is on us and upon us to kind of give love to the planet, because planet was giving this love to us all along. So even though, as I said, this planet is possibly a really beautiful garden, maybe sometimes doesn't appear to be so. Sometimes all we see is wars and issues, right? Now keep thinking about the blessings. And as far as blessings, I want you to bless your difficult or even painful experiences and let them go. I think this is sort of a second call. And then new things will happen. The very last card here that I have is a new moon. And I love this new moon because it comes with this like such a loving couple gazing the romantic sunset. So it is a time for the new beginning. 11 year after all is going to help all of you who are willing to be light workers. Yeah, and this is what makes my channel different. I don't just give you some quick get together, or he's going to leave you, he's going to come back and not to come back. Yes, you get that part as well. But this is the key part, because we are an army of do-gooders. We are an army of people who can actually move us forward. And for those of you who do really want to do that, it's a promise that we are going in this direction. So whether this is to help others, to go to the higher realm, to launch a project, a new relationship, or a new something that kind of has been tucked away for a later date, this is the time. We did set intention. We did kind of give our blessings. And now it is a time to emerge. And anything that has been in the dark, maybe some of us wonder, will this ever happen? Rest assured, do this job, do this work that I have asked you to do, and it will happen. The next step, this step as a new moon, is to put into action what is required to fully realize this idea. Because as you know, moon has the phases, right? It initiates another lunar circle, right? It's moving from darkness to fullness and then back again over approximately 1 month. I don't know, it's like 28.5 to 29 days. The promise is that the moon is going to be there, right? As long as the moon exists. So whatever the new project is, it has to be done on healthy grounds, because obviously we have been asked so many times over this year to do it. This is number 11. I told you, number 11 is not an easy number, but it gives you numerous rewards if you're willing to do the work. You will not believe the red carpet treatment. And it is just like that. You're going to say, oh my gosh, I'm rewarded for who I am, for just being nice to people. So this card promise has two meanings. It can be a commitment and guarantee to yourself or someone else that a particular thing will happen, or it can imply that something specific is expected to happen. When you align your will with the will of spirit, and when you focus upon what you wish to have happen, then this promise will be kept. So I was going into so many details about these 4 cards because as I noticed this waterfall down in the other decks, it kind of like summarized really succinctly really the rest of the story. So let me explain. Look at this. In the other cards, what do we have? In tarot, we have major arcana and minor arcana. There is a huge difference. Arcana means secrets. And those are those universal secrets that we are here to actually go and get through the dark and get into the light and kind of like move into the better life. Third eye chakra came out. The crystals came out. That message repeated. And so did the solar plexus chakra, which is the center, which kind of regulates both our connection with the other people and our ability to give the confidence, as well as our comfort with that we can handle daily tasks. So we have transformation, we have awareness, we have balance, we have trust, we have completion, and we have the master. I have to tell you, I am so beyond impressed what kind of cards we have. So let me give you sort of like a little information about the first quarter. The first quarter is going to be some kind of transformation. So in the other decks, this card is called Death card. And that card with itself carries that mission. Sort of like it can be very ominous, kind of like and strange and harsh, but can also be a beginning of a new phase, such as death of pregnancy is the beginning of a child. So hence it's kind of very joyful occasion, right? So it's asking us to release what doesn't work and actually see what we can do differently. Because remember, if you keep doing the same things over and over, we cannot expect different results. It's also asking us to kind of like attend to new vitality. Look at that. This is also a purple card. And I don't know if you can see it with the sliding, but again, it's connecting to this like 2 chakra sort of like focuses that we need to have. Telling me, and there is this rainbow motive again, telling me that maybe if we need to kind of go to a new fitness routine, or if we want to exercise, we kind of have to kind of like realize what we neglected, because it's reversed. And so is this card. Awareness reversed, again, look at that. It's again telling us about this crown chakra. Again, it's telling us about the magic and about certain things that we should be able to connect and to create. So when awareness is reversed, just like new vitality, this is kind of telling me that some of us are not really aware, and maybe we have been going through some kind of suffering. And suffering is very much like stale water, right? When you drink water, everything seems to be okay. Leave it in a glass, it's going to get icky and yucky. So we need to kind of at least kind of acknowledge what we need to release in order to know how to transform. And then we are giving the tools how to do that. And creator here is basically the Zen master. Look what he has. He has the solar plexus chakra, right? So this card invites us to basically recognize and participate in understanding that, you know, everybody who mastered these kind of fires, the solar plexus, those are the fires of passion, right? This is the person who is able to kind of create a better thing for themselves and for everybody else. Because as you know, without fire, it will be hard to survive. And sometimes also fire can go out of control. So it has to be integrated, that there is no longer any difference between who this person is inside or who we are inside and in the world outside. So that's generally the gift of understanding and integration, right? So the gift of light that I was telling you about. So this is King of Fire or King of Wands, that tells us that anything that we undertake now with the understanding that all that we want to undertake, what has to come from maturity, will bring enrichment to our own lives and to the lives of others. Using whatever skills you have, whatever you have learned from your own life experience, it is a time to express yourself. So this card here tells me that must be some kind of hidden masterpiece inside of you guys. Maybe it was on a back burner. Maybe you were told you cannot create it. Because this is generally in the other decks called a magician, who can create anything. And then it's saying, oh no, I cannot do it. Maybe we convinced ourselves we cannot do it. Maybe others convinced us that we cannot do it. But this is telling us, yes, you can. You're carrying a masterpiece hidden within you, but you're standing in a way. So just move aside and the masterpiece will be revealed, right? So everyone is a masterpiece, because God never gives birth to anything less than that. Everyone carries that masterpiece hidden from many lives, not knowing who they are and just trying on the surface to become someone. So how to do it? Drop the idea of becoming someone, because you already are that masterpiece. You cannot be improved. You have only to come to it, to know, to realize it. So it is understanding that what you are bringing to the table is important, and that what you're bringing to the table should be honored, that what you're bringing to the table should be respected. It is how we do it, how we say it. And I would say for some of you, that will be also some people that we possibly need to get rid of. People, relationships, and stuff. Oh my gosh, especially if you live in North America or Europe, or I would say Australia, sort of like the first world countries, I would say, we have so much stuff. And there are so many people who don't have them. So guys, let's transform. Let's see what is important. In the second quarter, when we need to focus, we will be challenged. And this is what happens with number 11. And we have this balance. Any imbalance is going to be corrected. Look at that. We have the circular motion here yet again, right? So it's like 3-4 times that we have it here. So we kind of like have to realize that we probably already have everything we need to have. And Nine of Fire is talking about a strategy. Here is talking about focus, the spiritual growth. But hey, just because we focus and sit in front of the fireplace and we want the soulmate to arrive, hey, unless we do something, unless we, let's say, get ourselves in shape, kind of create the profile, go and meet other people, it's not going to happen. So this is talking about some kind of strategy, some kind of like creation of it, even though maybe that didn't work in the past. And I think this is why this came back, saying maybe certain things didn't look in the past, but maybe just a small shift in a different direction will actually bring us to different results. This is not all about just winning and losing, right? This is about the heart. This is about what is the good for us. Especially this applies to people who are in some kind of like 3 people situation. Resolve it. Do you know how? Get out of it. It's as simple as that. Nobody needs to suffer. This definitely card says that there is suffering that is kind of included. So it's asking you to transform out of that suffering. You are right to demand the truth, because look at that. She's steering it. She's demanding the truth. She wants to let this light in, right? She wants to ground herself. And it is not all about the victory, but I think this card in here is saying that we have to redefine it. This victory should be about ourselves. This card here, again, is basically what happens when we don't know how to balance things properly. When, you know, we forget that our mind is meant to be a servant, and we allow our mind to run our lives. Look at this head. It's filled with all kinds of mechanisms, and this mouth is ranting and raving, right? And the whole surrounding atmosphere is kind of being polluted, as you can see. But this I don't know, what is this, factory, I guess, chimneys, but it's probably talking about factory of arguments and opinions. I don't know how often you guys to go to Facebook, Instagram, television, chat rooms. Everybody has their own 2 cents, and everybody has to have a snarky, smart comments, because simply we feel in a world that is kind of like really intruding upon of us. But also, we partially are responsible for ourselves, right? Some of us can say, hey, wait, the mind is what makes us human. It's the source of all progress. It's the source of all truths. It's like what makes humans better than anybody else. Well, if you believe that, try an experiment. Go into your room, shut the door, turn on a tape recorder, and give yourself total permission to say whatever it is, quote unquote, on your mind. If you really allow it to all come out without any censorship or editing, you'll be amazed at the amount of rubbish that comes out of our mouths, right? So this is the Page of Clouds, or Page of Swords. And it's telling us that somebody somewhere is stuck in a head, or in a head trip. So take a good look and make sure this isn't you. If you're guys dealing with somebody like that, who is trying to force some kind of control or their vision of truth, because these 3 cards are very kind of like mind cards. These are air cards. Look at this. Air, 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 air. So to me, what is amazing about that is that the lots of, from the first 6 months, will be in the realm of thinking. So this is going to be very, very important to address, that we don't overthink, that we actually have to go with emotional response, where we already know where we don't feel right, and simply figure out what better ways we can go about it. Maybe what is the better partner for us, and what is the better situation for us. Seeking the truth, I more or less see what is the truth for us. I think these 2 faces, these 2 minds, are our mind, because sometimes we think one way and then somebody else convinces us into something else. Nothing wrong about that. It is okay to change your mind. Now, this is the card that tells you that sometimes people can be sneaky, and if you really know who you are, and knowing who you are is coming from our solar plexus, so I would advise solar plexus chakra exercises, sitting in the sun, that kind of things, because you see, she's kind of letting that thing come through. Then we would know if somebody is telling us the truth, if this is also our truth. And if it isn't, we are just going to let go of that. So this is not about winning against somebody, but it's, again, I reiterate, winning ourselves, because we will be so close to completing that journey, to kind of putting this last puzzle in who we want to be, that it's going to be almost like you can almost touch it, you can almost feel it, and yet it's going to be some kind of wall, because this card came reversed. We will still need to put the final touches, because to become a number 11, to live number 11, you're always and always and always being challenged. You're always being thrown something else. So just don't say, oh, well, I did this easy exercise and something else happened and now I don't want to do it. This is what kind of year is going to be. Huge benefits, but going to be lots of work. You cannot give up, because the completion is very near. This, like Mona Lisa smile, this everything is right here. We cannot go back, guys. We can only go forward. And I wish that all of us go forward in a much better us. So this is the last call for us to walk away from things that don't work. Look, is this kind of chest of money or old memories or something that we have accumulated with somebody so important if somebody is not treating us right? Did you ever ask yourself, is there something else out there better for you? Did you ever ask yourself if you trust yourself and if you want something better? Did you ever ask yourself why you haven't done certain things? Why didn't you open your arms and fly? Trust reversed, or the Fool card reversed, tells me that maybe there is still a concept that has been lost on us, even in the third quarter of the 2018. Remember, you can only go to third eye chakra if you conquer all the other chakras. In particular, two of them will be very prominent. Also, what I find interestingly is like these two colors are also opposing colors on the spectrum. So 11 means, as I told you, there are two ones, leaders of the leaders, but also a very feminine principle. This is kind of very difficult, meaning you can say very, very harsh words to someone. It is how you say it. And it is to say it really, with real intention to help them and them understanding that this is what you're doing. But rewards, guys, are astonishing, right? Not only do we have this spiritual union, but we also have this Master card. So what is the spiritual union, guys? This is a soulmate card, but not kind of like any cheesy soulmate card. This is like a really, really good one. This is like when you kind of look at this again in the third eye, you connect with someone. For those of you who did your work, who didn't kind of tuck things away, just continue things the same old, those of you will be actually uniting with somebody. Maybe you already have a relationship that has been suffering. Maybe some of us will have this relationship that was more or less based on somebody always upping us one, or somebody always need to look better, or needing to be admired, or we felt that somebody's taking away maybe our peace of mind, maybe money. But we have been working all year long to shed this, to get to this union. And guess what? Number 22. We have mastered it. So the master is Zen, is not a master over others, but the master of himself. His, and I don't know if you can see it, this also is a purple card. So his every gesture and his every word reflect his enlightened state. So as I told you, he has no private goals, right? So he has no desire that anything should be other than the way it is. His disciples basically gather around him, not to follow him, but simply to soak up the presence and be inspired, simply to learn. This is somebody who who doesn't do things because he thinks he has to create something. It's somebody who just really enjoys, and he kind of doesn't mind sharing what he or she has. If you guys find such a master, somebody who can help you along your path, who can guide you, you're going to come to that spot yourself really, really fast, and you'll be blessed. If you can't, keep on searching, because by the end of the year, you're supposed to get there. So keep on moving, guys. So 2018, I actually pulled one more card, which I haven't shuffled in front of everybody, but it's this one. Oops. Loyal Heart. And I'm going to read to you what it says. It has a number of layered messages, and I really like to see two owls, right? Two owls represents wisdom, but in this case represents the heart. So it says this: evidence of loyalty will appear in your life. By the way, Aquarians and number 11 is known for loyalty. And if you're telling me, oh my gosh, Kat, what are you talking about? I know this Aquarius and he or she cheated on me. Yeah, that's a number 2. That's a very beginning existence, because they were supposed to spread their wings and fly. They still haven't reached that. But this is for other people who did their work, right? So altogether, this year is going to have this flavor that others will prove faithful to us, and we will in turn be able to fully commit to them. So there is a sure and abiding certainty in your heart. Know that Spirit is always loyal to you. No matter the outer circumstances in your life, trust and have faith, for you are eternally loved, always divinely protected and divinely directed. For the relationship, it says, your partnership, friendships, and romantic relationships will have many qualities in common right now. Honest devotion, faithfulness, and a loyal heart are being shown to you. Are you as loyal in return? Now is the time for heartfelt commitments and trusting in divine protection. Prosperity message. Your long-term loyalty to your goals is becoming evident in the world of conditions, where your aspirations for success assume form in reality. Success is finally taking shape. If you are loyal to your dreams, faithful to your plans, while remaining flexible and devoted to serving others, you will be shown proof of your true prosperity. This is a time for a joyful celebration of Spirit and manifesting a partner. And lastly, we also get protection message. Are you stubborn, or are you overly tenacious about an idea? Or have you become so attached to something that you just don't know how to let it go? Could it be that it's become so much a part of you that you don't want to know, or you wouldn't know who you are without it? Now it is time to look at outdated beliefs, old ideas, and misplaced loyalties. Betrayal is only a signal that it is time to prune away all who don't deserve your trust and have no place in your life. Be new, think new, and open your heart to new things. Let go of the old and all your attachments. Spirit has awesome plans for you. Make some room. So guys, as you can see, this talks about betrayal. It's talking about that maybe we have been betrayed, and maybe we are betraying ourselves. This is asking us to let go of the past. This is asking us that if something is out of balance, because this is a karmic number and it is a number 11, that things eventually will be in balance. We eventually will have this trust. We eventually will open our arms, and things will come. Things will come. We need to kind of get the strength in who we are, what we want, and then walk away from things that are not important, that no longer serve us. Let bygones be bygones, and get rid of the people who upset you. And if you spend time being upset or mulling over certain issues, it's not going to serve the purpose. The best cause of action put the finishing touches and say, hey, thank you. Thank you for being a part of my journey. It is time for me to move on. And I'm moving on because I'm becoming the master. I do love you. However, my love has to be given to somebody else at this point. So thank you guys for this general introduction. Now we are going to go in particular signs. Hi dear Aries, and welcome to your 2018 forecast. So it is really interesting what I'm seeing here. You're definitely getting a new zest. You're integrating many things. But this is going to be a working year, and a year where you actually have to become a new you. You will be going through challenging times. You will possibly feel neglected, feeling isolated. But my gosh, you guys are going to really finish this year with flying colors. So let me start. The very first card, let me just give you a little better overview. The very first card that came out was Cave. So this is this beautiful card where we see the sun setting. So we know the moon is just about to come out. And here there's this person who is just enjoying his own creativity. The warmth is here, and he's creating his art, painting on the walls of the cave with colors that are used from earth substances, right? So the fire is here to give him this refuge, and the cave is also sheltering him and basically giving him the space that is just his, and it's kind of like shelter from the world. It is like a womb, if you really think about it. And it is not that only we have the sanctuary, but it almost like serves as a temple that houses his creative spirit, which eventually gives birth in physical form, aka this artwork. He is really absorbed in this process. We all have been there, where something very basic mesmerizes us, where the tips of our fingers are basically giving this energy out. So you kind of have to start this year finding that quiet, still place inside of you that will always be available as a sanctuary. And find such a space in the natural world that will enhance and complement this internal place that you have, this designated place of peace. So whatever this is, whether you can manage to find a cave or a meadow or forest or seashore or just a simple park bench, any other setting in the nature, that's where you can see, hear, and feel the presence of that higher force, of the spirit, of the creator in your surroundings. So let it become a temple of your heart and of your soul. This is definitely asking that in this busy world, we actually set some kind of time aside for sanctuary, even if you have to schedule it. It is like really important to channel anything that can be happening, or that the society is kind of like saddling us with. What I see here is, I see challenging times card. Challenging times is even a challenging card, even when it's in the upright situation. It is somebody who is protecting himself, who really doesn't know what really is around. And there is like this bubble. Sometimes we live in a bubble. Sometimes the bubble becomes us, because we are just subjecting ourselves to the experiences that we want to see and to people that we want to hear. Maybe it's a time to not necessarily expose ourselves to the other things, to things that are different than we are, but maybe just simply to kind of like allow our instincts to become kind of something that can come to the surface, where we can kind of learn it differently. Because you see, this teach card is really teaching us, others, are kind of settling us with their will, with their vision of rules of what it should be, how it should be. We all know the basics, the golden rule. Don't do to the others the way you don't want to be done to yourself. So that's pretty much the only rule we need to have. These people are asking us to be obedient little lapdogs and to just kind of repeat after them. I think you guys are breaking free from that. I think you guys have been doing that for a long time. And that didn't bring you any release and any relief as you hoped. In fact, if anything, you have been feeling alone. You have been feeling as being let out and kind of like dealing with your own issues. Issues that maybe you didn't even share with the others, because it shows iceberg and it's saying submerged. So as you know, it is possibly up to 90% of an iceberg body that is below the surface, and it is kind of like submerged in the ocean. And like, look, you can just see the simple peaks coming out. So we kind of like have to figure out how, the surface relates to the things underneath. So when we kind of break off from a glacier of ice shelf, then this kind of icebergs float around the sea. And of course the vessels around are not super happy about that, because they kind of like cut and traverse their basically passageways, and there is a danger in it. Danger is because it's something really, really strong. And most of us have heard stories of ill-fated ships that kind of had tragic encounters with these ice mountains, because this is what it is. It's a mountain. So whenever you suppress or deny any attempt to keep out some kind of conscious awareness, because sometimes this awareness comes just as a byproduct of something else that we need to do. Just doing one thing over and over again, such as us engaging with our cute little devices, keeping us busy all the time, engaging our brain. We do not sink in the heart. We do not go up in the third eye. We are being continuously funneled to something else. So it is kind of really important that sometimes we put things out of our consciousness and kind of allow to see what basically is the surface, and also allow us to listen what is hiding behind the surface. Because if behind the surface there is like such a vast amount of this iceberg that is so dangerous, if it's dangerous to the others, it also can be danger to ourselves. So it is allowing time. This is the right time to allow that time to these elements to surface and embrace them. Whatever it is, it is who we are. It is what we have to love about ourselves, because we had a long path behind us that brought us to this stage. So whatever you guys have submerged deep inside of you, it is your opportunity to pay attention, to do these things, and welcome to the family. That family is called you, my dear Aries. So whatever this is, maybe is going to make you feel, well, let's say, lonely. Feeling alone came here as a center card in this reading. But feeling alone doesn't mean feeling lost. Sometimes you have to go along your own path. Sometimes this is really needed, because these two cards kind of are relatives. They kind of like talk to each other. And even this one. So you obviously having this very strong messages with having these two major arcanas happening and this minor arcana reinforcing them. You guys are integrating yourself. This submerged thing that you have, that you kept pushing down, it's like a pressure cooker. At one point it's going to explode. So you can as well invite it to come out. Invite it to kind of like let go. If that means that certain things were not happening, They were not happening for a reason. You were holding them because you were trying to keep control. This is what the iceberg is. It's like a huge emotion that is trying to continue on its path. And God help anybody who is in the path. It's dangerous. Sometimes, Aries, you are danger to yourself. You are not meant to go with the flow this year. You are forced to be reckoned with. Because as soon as you realize that it was not feeling alone, but basically that was your get out of the jail card, following your own moon. You did have this light in this dark. The shadows will not scare you anymore. You will not feel alone anymore because you will fall in love with you. And this is going to sprout growth, guys. This particular year for you, it's going to be a year where you're going to become, I would say, somebody else, almost like having some kind of protection. You will confront your fears. You will confront where you feel inadequate. Because look at this. The moon theme is also changing and repeating in your reading. Meaning you guys are going to be really connected with the nature in this year. Sometimes this nature will be the one that can help you and can ground you. Sometimes this nature is going to be the very thing that you need to rely upon. And you also have to realize that because of the nature, you are here where you are. Confront is a good thing. Whenever I coach, I don't tell my clients, oh, well, let's just think of nice, fluffy, pink elephant, and everything will be fine. My readings are not like that either. I tell you what I see. I have to tell you what I see. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point to sugarcoat things when sometimes it's the best just to see things as they are? You know, apple will be an apple, even if you write on it banana, as this commercial says. You guys are actually on some really interesting trajectory. Success and growth is a really, really biggie. Look at the sprouting over here. It is maybe something that you failed to do in the past, which was establishing boundaries. But when you confront your own fears, and literally what I do, because this is kind of very close to sitting on your own and really imagining the worst case scenario that you really would not like it to happen. Because we sometimes play poker with sweaty palms and people can see that we are nervous and people feel this out. Guess what? You take that game away from them and you become the master of this game by confronting your fears. It takes lots of strength because then you become your own enemy. So it is you against you. It's like one Bond villain against another. And this is going to be a center. It's going to be tying up loose ends, guys. It's going to be resolving these issues of what you felt you have been left behind, you have been lost. And you're going to have support. It says angels are all around you. Connect with them and work with them. I personally don't think there's such thing as angels, to be quite honest. But usually when I see this card, I connect this to the energy. This is that, like I'm in Flower of Life, that is right here. So I think that we will always have energy around, right? And you guys are basically projected to actually feel that energy. You will actually really know that there is kind of guidance that will be available to you. All you will need to know is just like close your eyes for this guidance to become available. So how will you get these messages? By closing your eyes. But there'll be also many other subtle ways of communication. For example, will be images in the world around us. You might be driving the car or passing on the street. And of course, there is a commercial to the left, there is an advertising to the right. but it's going to be the one particular one that is going to peak and talk to you. Or you will not hear anything, and then all of a sudden you'll hear something, and then you will start kind of like putting those pearls together. It will start to form basically the story. You're going to start feeling safe. That is the feeling that you will know this is the thing, right? Connect with that. Connect with that energy. That energy is here to help you, because this energy is saying you are on the right trajectory, because you are going to have the year finished in some kind of form of celebration. You'll be reactivating yourself, because check this out, from this coldness and slow energy, you're lifting your arms in the winning, in the motion. You are being yourself again. It says fulfillment of wishes. So this huge, enormous iceberg melted down. All the walls that you have built can come down. You can enjoy the bounty. It is time. Confronting yourself and battling yourself is the hardest battle of all. But look at this. Whoosh. You're getting to new vitality. Your chakras are not only getting cleared, but fired up. This is kind of like that singing with joy. And then also we have integration. Here, there is like this huge duality that is reconciling. Look at that. There is the sun and there is the moon again. There's an eagle and there is a swan, right? There is like yin and yang, and there is like the snake that is biting its tail. So there is this regeneration. Yes, it's going to start a new cycle. So don't think that there is a one way or the other that is like right one. What? Is the sun better than the moon? Because both of them are normal. Is the eagle better because he's soaring? Or is it swan better because it's so beautiful? As you can see, sometimes comparisons are not right. So I think you kind of have all these elements somewhere sorted out. But now you're kind of realizing that these elements are coming in a center. There is time for things to be the right place, right time, right person, right circumstances. This time, you're going in the next level of karma. This time, you're setting your own rules, and you're having spiritual help, and you're doing your own take. It's going to take a while for you to kind of like finish the cycle, because this, I see here you're getting maybe in the third quarter with number 9. You are finishing this work. You are melting this iceberg. And then the very last quarter of 2018, guys, there is this clearance. For you, your number is number 1. This is the number that is music to your ears. And this is what's happening. You're starting to sing a new song. So just make sure that, you are also willing to dance. Because the other people will dance to your tune. And you will dance as well to something completely new. It will be new vitality. It will be a new you. It's going to be interesting with how you start the year to how you finish. It's not going to be even the same person. This was the person that you're going to leave behind. Person who was not getting it. Person who was stuck in the boundaries, in some kind of doorway of the past life. And you're becoming a new person who is right now choosing his own or her own path. And choosing to know better. So let's go in your houses and see how your houses and your different segments of life will resonate and relate this year. Okay guys, so let's start. The very first house for Everybody is the house of appearance, outward personality. So that's why it's always to look in your ascendant and also see what kind of ascendant is in this house. So for you, basically Aries in general, looks like you'll be very giving. You'll be very friendly. It's going to be the year where, you know, you're going to figure out who your real friends are and who do you really want to offer things. You will try to be honest and basically naked with yourself. You'll kind of like really work on your outward appearance. You know, maybe you're going to be needing support of the others. Actually, most of the time, these efforts are going to be without much without much involvement. It's almost going to look effortless. You will have to know, and this is falling in the house number 2, which is the house of money, possessions, values, and skills. You will have to figure out what makes no sense anymore. Maybe you valued something and those values are just becoming hard to maintain. Maybe you're not behaving in accordance with your values. Maybe others are not behaving. It's just basically saying it is time to find a new home, right? Because why are you pushing yourself so hard, right? Do you really need it? Is this really something that you need to break your back over it? Or you maybe have to let your burden down and kind of like see what is important. You see, this is much better idea to build your own throne. The house number 3 is a house of mental activity, learning, siblings, and communication. Here we have you, King of Fire, sitting on a throne. You see, realizing about the back is not to break your back, but to support your back. You will be looking for support of your family, more or less from your siblings. You will be finding people who are in the same sorts of passion. Communication might be a little bit reserved. Be careful how you come across. You might come across as you're hiding something, right? These 2 cards definitely can kind of give something like that off. So don't send mixed messages. But this is definitely telling me it's going to be lots of activities, charging like, I mean, slowly your batteries, putting them like to the full speed until it's kind of time to resolve. This is the nurturing house. And this talks about home, talks about parents, roots, and inner security. Here, this is telling me how nice and intertwined things will become. There is this healing. There is like this feeling of touching each other's pulse. Understanding that you can become one. And then, 1 and 1 makes 3. All of a sudden, things can happen. And it doesn't matter what it is. It's just all of a sudden, there is this guiding star. You have to figure out what is it that really, really is important to you. Because I see here that you're more than willing to be giving, but you're scared about how to proceed. You kind of like maybe have a fear of abandonment, I would say, and you really need to fill that reservoir. You need to make it full again. You kind of need to figure out, maybe you have issues with a father figure. Maybe it was somebody who was authoritarian, who you never managed to catch up with, and kind of like hence maybe you stayed feeling inadequate. Maybe you need love. Maybe this time this year to revisit your home and family relationships. Maybe tell people how much you love them and see what comes back. Home is a big theme for you this year because this is the house number 5. House number 5 is I serve personal creativity house, house of romance, house of children, house of fun, house of creativity. You will be like, family oriented. You will be pet oriented, especially those of you who love, you know, dogs, cats, right? There will be other people who will be looking up to you and looking to you to help them resolve them. You'll have to be their guiding star. So you have to be really, really good in order to do that. Again, this is the theme of sitting on your own throne, finding what is that really makes you happy, how to solidify, how to stabilize yourself, because this, guys, is kind of relating to basically your sign being you. So it starts guarded, but then you kind of are revisiting something, maybe something that you thought was long lost. Sometimes we go through life blaming other people or blaming karma about the circumstances that have been coming our way, where we kind of like realize, wait, it was all the way back then. We trace this original thing that happened when we were still a little child, where things just appear different, because when you're so small and when things are so big, kind of like there is like a need of engagement. And now we adults, we can look at the same situation differently, and we can work on it. But you guys solidifying the home base and resolving some previous issues will actually help you and help to clear many, many issues that will be serving you well in life from many, many years, if not decades ahead of you. The sixth house is the work, health, service, and self-improvement. Again, you are showing up, and again, you're showing up with some kind of reservation. You see, you are a fire sign, and fire is good, but fire can be very dangerous, right? If you can't control that fire, it is okay. Even if the little kind of like pre-fire event can actually be hard. So just imagine what happens when something like this lighting kind of like catch this fire on. This is definitely talking about possibility that you're going to figure out that certain things are not workable anymore and the others are. You will figure out which master you serve. Who is your master at work, and who is really the master of your life. I think you're going to turn your back to something. You might be actually looking for a new job. You will definitely look into some new enthusiastic opportunities. The only caveat here, I would say, don't believe in fast and quick and easy. That can come back to backfire. And this especially because this is work and health. You need to pay attention to this, because it looks to me that you might be looking for really quick and easy solutions to some of your problems. And voila, we are talking house of partnerships. Marriage? Yes. Looks like there is maybe somebody who you already know who met your parents, who your parents approved, or who you will work throughout this year for your parents to approve. Maybe you haven't been ready to commit. Maybe you were the beast. Maybe you were guided with some kind of like different instincts. But at this stage, you're kind of like ready to settle down. You're really ready to lay down. This is the card of persistence. This is a card of the strength. This is a card of moving on, moving forward. Strength is a wonderful thing, especially this is really usually ruled by Leo, and Leo is your sister sign. This is falling in your partner house, and it's really on a tangent for you guys to marry. This definitely is a card of celebration. It could be somebody born in the sign of a Leo. It's going to be very significant. It's going to feel really, really right. House number 8 is ruled by Scorpio. It's the house of sex, death, regeneration, other people's money, sharing. You kind of like feel that certain things here have to be reconfigured. There is like this transformation here that you wanted to happen. You see, this whole world that you kind of like wanted to create kind of slipped maybe under your fingers. Maybe somebody swallowed your world. You to some extent feel lost. Maybe you need to work on your budget. Maybe you need to work on how kind of like to put things together. Overall, this is still a fiery kind of like card, which kind of like is something that is in tune with you. But I think this is, in this particular level, sex, death, letting go. That you are letting go of something or of somebody or some things. Because I see this repeated here. This is falling in the house number 9, which is education, philosophy, religion, travel. It is walking away of something, but it's more like walking towards something that you actually really should need and should want. The shooting star is there, right? So there is like some kind of like fulfillment that needs to happen and looking in the horizon for something completely new. Is this the sun? Right? See the 2? Or is this the world that you want to create and sort of like this fire that you want to foster? It is kind of like really important to kind of define this, because this card is saying, look, even though you seemingly might be happy, you seemingly might be looking and appearing happy to the other people, the truth is you need to choose what is the best for you. And if this means that all these accomplishments, all these relationships are sort of like something that are working right here, right now, maybe there is something that you need to think, what is it that you truly want, that you truly need? House number 10 is career. It's status, reputation, purpose, power. There are no issues here. You will be working and working hard until you're being noticed, until you even carry the weight of your work. Almost looks like this entire year will be dedicated more or less to your work and to your family. You have here 2 tenths, meaning something is really shifting. You only have 1 major arcana, which means your partnership, somebody in your life, will be complete focus. And that special person will be your friend. Will be a friend who will be truly somebody who will really understand you. In the house number 11, which is the house of friends, groups, goals, and aspirations, I think you're going to meet somebody whom you possibly already know, or somebody who is in the groups of people that you usually hang around. You have here this King of Cups. This can be a water sign. It can be a Leo. It can be a fire sign. What basically happens here, this is a person who is not necessarily flamboyant. This is a person who kind of like listens to you, but kind of doesn't make a move. Takes a long time to make a move. Be very careful, because you guys can make some kind of rash decision. Oh, things are too hard. Oh, never mind. I'm going to find another throne. You guys are a trajectory. This is your soulmate card. This is your marriages and celebration and strength card. And this is this ideal person that is actually coming to your life. But you guys have to learn these lessons. You have to learn how to build. This is this card that talks about you need to think long term, not just right now. This is talking about your children and the children of your children and integration with your family, not only you, but everybody. And this person is going to be the perfect person to integrate. Somebody who is going to always be a soft place for you to fall. And lastly, the house number 12 is the house of solitude, institutions, but also the house of self-sabotage. You guys sometimes pretend that you cannot do something where you can, right? Here it is. Oh, I'm such a victim. I don't know what's going on. Here we see that she's really not such a victim. That yes, she's possibly perceiving this vulture, an eagle, whatever you want to call it, trying to get a hold of her. She knows very well that this sword can cut through any ties that are no longer serving. So if you're keeping yourself, if you're sabotaging your relationship, what if this person shows up and you are not letting go of somebody old? What if this person shows up and you do not want to face them? What if this person shows up and you are all giving because you want to charm them, but you also give off this, well, you know, I might walk away, I still don't know what I want. This person is quiet, but this person is observing everything you do. This person will be your friend, and this combination of this person being in the 11th house and being such a wonderful person is very rare. Don't mess it up. This is telling you, you need to work on your own strengths. You need to figure out your own flaws. Your flaws is being rash. Well, I could have told you that even without the cards, but this is like clearly stating this. Don't rush into it, because this is absolutely a year calling you to be methodical, to pay attention to the career, and the career is going to pay like plentiful. Okay, let's go to the Lenormand and see what kind of lay of the land you basically have this year, what to watch for, and what to really dwell on. So let's start. Okay, the help is still here. So let's see what I see in your Lenormand. Lenormand can give me like sort of the lay of the land, so I can kind of like see different attitudes and different kind of like things and circumstances coming your way. It looks like the beginning of the year can be starting with a big bang. Something has to stop. In this particular deck, the grave doesn't mean the grave. This grave means transformation. Very much that will be the death card in the other deck. But you did have the number 8 in your house of the partnership. So I'm really wondering, and also you have the house, which can indicate your family over here. I'm wondering what will happen. Will something come to an end? Or will you transform something that is existing to something else? I can see the faith coming in here, being very important this year. I can see some of you being self-employed and actually being very happy about it. I can see lots of travel. I can see communication. And I actually see kind of settling down in basically March time this year. February, March already. And we are talking springtime in a summertime. It is going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be a whole bunch of activities. You have the locket, you have the gentleman, you have the lady. So you'll be dealing with some kind of big question mark. What is that I want, or who is that I want? You're wondering if you really want to settle with someone. If something or somebody is a healthy relationship. You are actually torn between possibly 2 relationships. Something that is definitely loyalty, and the other things that is a sex. Loyalty goes to this home, to that longevity, to everything that we have seen in your houses. The sex is running into problems. And I have a feeling, and be very careful not to get involved with somebody from your work. I am wondering how wise idea that would be. Involving yourself with somebody from work will, mark my words, will actually help you with your career. You might actually even get a contract that way, bizarrely enough. But this is also going to set you off on a completely new crossroads and something that is unknown and unheard. And you might run into somebody from the past who knows about it, who is going to kind of interfere with something that you thought can easily be worked out. Others of you will kind of like take more grounded approach. Some people will have promotion really happening within the first couple of months in a year, and it's going to be more also with some kind of traveling. You might have a job that kind of includes people. It could be a sales job, even could be a job that includes children, or even some kind of social work, sort of like single mothers. It could be with medical services, something with some kind of expertise. Winter is going to be really, really important. Watch for people with gray hair. They are going to somehow influence certain things at your work. As far as partnerships, locket is here right next to the bouquet. It's right next to the dog and a child. So the couples, I see the couple here. Couplehood is forming, guys. But the warning is, be sure what you want. Figure out who is going to be that person that you want to come home to parents with. Because I can see there will be options for you guys. Options will kind of like really, really mess you up. In fact, I see the person who could be really, really right for you, and I see it twice. Could be the one that you find as a nag. You find, what the heck, it's easy for me. This other one is more alluring, sexy, because other one represents the challenge. You thrive on challenge. Be very careful. That other person can be a complete snake. Or you might not get what you eventually want. You kind of like want peace on one end, on the other hand you really want action and passion. I'm not sure if this ring over here talks about some kind of commitment with a person, but I really more feel this is something connected to job, because these two cards are also connecting to job and something that's going to shine. So you really cannot go wrong. You will have many options. It is just like to what kind of level you come up with. You might even have a government job or something in some kind of corporation, maybe in a high-rise. House means HR department as well. So something can be really important, but this also could mean kind of the end of something. I don't really think that you're going to have too many negative things, other than it's going to be choice that is going to be killing you. It's almost like you will be a little leaf in a river and the things will be just basically done for you versus you grabbing them. Also, somebody might come into your life, and be prepared for that. You might not be ready. You might cut person off by mistake. The clouds are here. This is the thing that worries me. You actually do have the crossroads. And even if you choose the wrong person, you still are going to have some amount of success. Even though the fox, that person I'm warning you, you can advance at your work, but the very same person will sort of keep you by the right, because this is coming in the house of the cross, of the house of the fate, of karma, your job. Don't be too smart for your own good. That's all I'm saying. Don't because you will see things sort of happening that way that didn't happen in a long time. It's going to look so easy. You're going to be so in the zone. So don't mess it up. Just do the right thing. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so let's see. Aries, 2018. There we go. This one wants to talk. Truth to be told. Okay, so let's see what it says. You basically got a very similar card initially coming out. So it is repeating the messages. I love the little owl over here. This is what it says. There is the truth, which is the essence of a thing. And then there is a truth, subjective, according to the philosophy of the inherent or believer. This is not a time for debate about which truth is truer. This is a time when you are called to proclaim your truth out loud and be willing to be transparent, honest, and open in your communication with others and with yourself. Nothing less than surrender to what is, peeling out the layers of denial that kept you tied to an illusion will set you free. Be authentic and gloriously flawed, and Spirit will answer with miracles. Relationship message. People tell you who they are very quickly if you're willing to listen to what they say and pay attention to how they behave. This card calls you to engage in heartfelt, open conversation. It's time to see the truth about what you share with each other and tell the truth about who you are and what you need. Remember, you need to confront. No one can do that for you. Remember that your truth is always based in your personality and experience up to now. A higher truth will be found after you communicate honestly and see how doing so has helped you become more attuned to yourself. Don't hold back. Speak your truth and listen. So guys, 2018, you'll be taking chances. You at one point are going to think things are just getting so easy because you'll be facing your own fears. But look at this card, this owl, the wisdom, right? And we've seen that here. You kind of have this repeat. It's going to be something very, very specifically connecting to your work and to the things from the past. The snake is here. You know what they say, the snake came back to bite you. Sometimes propelling yourself on the wings of your personality might not be enough. So you have to kind of allow yourself to be free. You have to, truth sets you free. But also it is how you communicate and what you communicate. In this year, you will be really getting yourself back on your feet. You will shed everything that you need to shed. The only thing that really makes me worried is that you will forget how hard it was to get there. Because at one point, and we are talking somewhere end of the summer, rather, yeah, August on, things will get so easy. Things will get so overwhelming goodness. And it's very easy to get used to the good thing. Don't go nuts. Things can change. And for you, you might step on the mine. Be really careful what you do at work. But at the same time, if you fine-tune yourself and do all this prep work that I was telling you about, the homework to do, you guys can be making a really good money. You might actually have a new partner, and you might actually experience this fullness of the heart, and even possibly kind of getting into something more permanent. So guys, I think 2018 looks really, really good for you, Aries. So I wish you all the best. Happy New Year. And please come back and check your monthly scopes and bi-weekly scopes. Love you.